May as well do the intro here. I am Paradox Master 1819. This is Mass Effect Andromeda. We are on episode 89. Hopefully episode 90 will be the last, where I will be finishing this epic saga. That's not really a saga, but me. By finishing the Codex. This episode is reading the Codex. We're currently letting all the shaders build in because for some reason Origin went, I know, let's just update, and it replaced all it reset all the shaders for Andromeda. Yeah, but yeah. We should be reading the Codex from the Nexus. Episode 90 will possibly be the end. It's been a long journey. Very glad you've kept with me after all this time. 90 videos. That's 90 videos. Hang on, let me just that's 90 videos at an average of 45 seconds. 45 seconds. You say 45 seconds long, I wouldn't do fucking anything. That's 90 videos times 45 and divided by 60. Let's just... Oh, no, we're in. Okay. And this is where we finished off. Let's just check our emails, see if anything came up. Just a thought. Oh, move me. Go over there. Don't need that. Okay. Let's continue reading the Codex. The Nexus. Codex, Andromeda Initiative, the Nexus. Nexus, Pathfinder HQ. The Pathfinder headquarters on the Nexus is designed to record and celebrate the achievements of the Initiative Pathfinders, while also providing a space for them to relax and regroup when off duty. The Pathfinder HQ is not normally open to the general populace, but Director Tan has permitted guided tours since Arc Hyperion's rendezvous with the Nexus. The Pathfinder HQ preserves mission-significant items, mineral samples, and planetary surveys. If and when the initial settlement phase is complete, the Pathfinder HQ will contain a historical record of the Pathfinder's efforts to colonize Helios. Meanwhile, Director Tan has established his offices here, as part of his duties in overseeing Pathfinder operations. Remember, Director Tan is the guy who was 11th in line for leadership. The Nexus. Intended as a safe anchorage, embassy and financial centre, the Nexus is a vast space station sent ahead of the main Ark fleet. It travelled to Andromeda in an incomplete state to reduce fuel demands, with construction planned to be completed within a standard year after arrival. However, syncing with Nexus databases reveals that damage from the Scourge has set the timetable back significantly, and yet with all the minerals we've brought, we've still not fixed it. Returning Arks anchor to the Nexus's central wheel, integrating their power grid and offloading colonists for orientation and temporary housing before deployment to outposts. The Nexus collates and manages the resources which form the basis of the Initiative's economy, coordinates scientific research and defence, and acts as headquarters for Pathfinder teams. Once outposts are established, the Nexus will become the permanent seat of government for the Initiative. That would have been the case had we not crashed the Hyperion on Meridian. Statistics: length 15.47 kilometres. What a weird number. Just make it 15.5, it's so much easier. Vein width point 4.9 kilometres. Anchorage wheel diameter 5.3 kilometres. Gross weight 2.2 billion metric tonnes. Holy shit, that thing's massive. Maximum population when complete 2.7 million. Nexus. Tyran Kandros. In his screening interviews, Tyran Kandros states he is named after an ancestor who captured a dreadnought in the Krogan rebellions, and he was expected to live up to the name. After beginning boot camp at the traditional age of 15, Kendros rose through the ranks and was assigned to Sigarius 8, one of the hierarchy's counter-terrorism divisions. Fucking hell, I'm tripping over my words already. Persistent rumours on the Nexus claim that Kendros was sent to investigate the Andromeda Initiative when the hierarchy became suspicious about its activities. Kendros refuses to comment on former operations, citing family pressures as the reason he later joined the initiative. During the early days of the Nexus arrival, Kendros left the station to act as protection detail for a prospecting team and was captured by the Ket. He managed... Son of a bitch! Sorry about that. For those of you who didn't know, that's Axel F. He managed to lead several other captives in an escape and return to the Nexus, eventually founding a volunteer militia to defend the station. Fucking phone! I keep forgetting it's my alarm to wake up at 10 o'clock. I'll go up at 8 o'clock. Ah, look. Director Tan. Nexus, Andromeda Initiative Director Tan. Andromeda Initiative Director Juran Tan is a replacement leader for those who died in the Scourge disaster. Personal records indicate he was the Nexus Deputy Director for Revenue Management when the Arks departed the Milky Way in 2185. He was an accountant. However, upon arrival in the Helios cluster, the disastrous encounter with the Scourge led to substantial loss of life among the senior leadership. The line of succession eventually fell to Tan as the next in line for overall director, but to the apparent consternation of certain Nexus personnel. Born on Sukesh, Tan's application to the initiative lists his previous work experience as a senior consultant advanced matrix-based accounting, with hobbies in model shipbuilding and travel someday. When queried if he had any prejudices that would affect his ability to serve the initiative, his answer was blank. However, careful data forensics reveals his original reply was, "Wait, you're letting Krogan come along?" Today, Director Tan has official oversight of initiative operations and strategy, and effective supervision of Pathfinder teams. Hydroponics. The Nexus' original encounter with the Scourge caused heavy damage to the station. Reports show that hydroponics suffered the brunt of the damage. Deepening the resource crisis, in response, Dr. Elliot Camden, the new head of hydroponics, requested that plants be distributed throughout the station to prevent similar losses. According to station resource allocation... I'm not breathing enough. According to station resource allocation, hydroponics currently accounts for 38% of the Nexus water ice consumption. After undergoing reverse osmosis to remove heavy metals, the water is divided into reservoirs for each plant variety. And in macronutrient mixes added, VI systems constantly monitor the pH, temperature and dissolved solids count in the reservoirs. Count of these reservoirs, there we go. The flora in hydroponics was chosen by crop varieties and oxygen yield. While most of the Nexus's oxygen comes from electrolysis, its plants provide overall air quality. Psychological reports also show a marked improvement in station morale since hydroponics recovery. The Nexus Cultural Exchange. The Cultural Exchange was created to support the Andromeda Initiative's principles of peaceful exploration in the new galaxy. Given the high likelihood of contacting sentient alien life in Andromeda, the exchange was designed to educate and inform local species about the history and intentions of the Milky Way settlers. The hope was to avoid any misunderstanding which could lead to suspicion or hostilities, and instead foster an air of cooperation beneficial to all. With first contact established between the initiative and the Angara, why is that not got a capital A? The cultural exchange has become the initiative's de facto embassy. Behind the scenes, diplomatic staff are preparing briefs for the Nexus leadership on Angaran culture and social cues. Orientation and language classes have begun for Angara who wish to have a more long-term role on the Nexus or serve the militia. Nexus leadership. As the base of operations for the Andromeda Initiative, the Nexus leadership was always intended to be split between the Initiative proper, station operations and colonial administration. Gian Garson planned to retain an honorary role, electing the Asari matriarch Nuara as Initiative Director. Unfortunately, both Garson and Matriarch Nuara are listed as deceased, along with many of Nuara's senior staff. The current director of the initiative, Durant Tan, was 8th in line for succession. No, not 8th. Was it 11th? It's 8th. Today, Director Tan remains officially in charge of initiative operations and Pathfinder teams. Foster Addison retains her post as Director of Colonial Affairs, managing colonist and outpost deployments. The Nexus itself is administrated by Superintendent Nakmor Kesh, who also oversees construction efforts. In the wake of the Ket attacks, Tyran Kandros emerged as leader of a de facto volunteer militia that has taken over station security. Though technically a civilian, Kandros is counted amongst the Nexus leadership. Nexus. Nakmor Kesh. Overseer of the Nexus initial design and construction phase in the Milky Way, Nakmor Kesh is currently superintendent of the station. She has oversight of the Nexus proper, maintaining systems, integrating any returning arcs, and continuing construction efforts. She is also considered a senior figure in Clan Nakmor, despite the departure of the majority of the Krogan from the Nexus. Kesh herself describes her role as Fixer-in-Chief. Kesh was born on Tuchanka, back in the Milky Way. She claims she was considered frail as a child, but an attentive upbringing by her grandfather, Nakmor Drak, allowed her to flourish. Unlike many of her kind, a young Kesh made ample time to read, sparking her early interest in engineering and civil construction. Records from the Nexus uprising show Kesh played a key role in keeping the station operational during the crisis. The repetitive breaks, I very apologise, are me yawning. It's not boring, it's just I'm reading and not taking a breath every now and again, and you yawn because your brain's not getting enough oxygen. Which is probably what's happening, so... Okay, I don't feel as lightheaded now. Her strong management and knowledge of the station makes her an irreplaceable member of the Nexus leadership. The minutes of official meetings suggest she and Director Durant Tan are often at odds. Kesh's presence ensures that the Krogan still have a powerful voice on the Nexus, because, you know, if Kesh decides to go, you know what, I don't think anybody deserves oxygen apart from the Krogan, she can just go click and shut all the atmospheric doors. Nexus. William Spender. When the Nexus first arrived on Andromeda and an uprising arose among the desperate crew, it was William Spender who convinced clan leader Nakmor Morda to put down the mutineers. By all accounts, it did not go well. In return for help, Morda claims that Spender, in his authority as Assistant Director of Colonial Affairs, promised equal status for the Krogan in any decision-making by way of a seat at the Council. When the agreement came to light, Initiative Director Durant Tan refused to honour it, and most Krogan left the Nexus. Privately reprimanded but publicly credited for helping to stop the uprising, Spender maintained his position a step away from Nexus senior leadership. After an investigation revealed that Spender quietly helped the mutineers during the Nexus uprising and was further using his position to smuggle Nexus supplies to key exile contacts on Kadara, he was dismissed and jailed, rather than what I should have done, which was shot him in the face. Nexus. Addison! Yay! Previous to the initiative, Foster Addison was a Chief Operations Officer for a provincial capital. Wow, that's a fucking roll and a half, that is. She stated in her screening interviews that she preferred the position because it was the highest non-elected municipal office. It carried responsibility without requiring a public face. Foster was asked to head Colonial Affairs early during initiative training. She accepted after being assured that it was temporary. After arrival, outposts would appoint a council and she could be obscure on a new world. In the meantime, she would remain senior advisor to Chian Garson. Unfortunately, Garson died in the Nexus initial Scourge impact to be replaced by Director Tan. Twat. During the rebuilding, Colonial Director Addison had no colonial affairs to direct. That limited the influence she wielded and increased the scrutiny demanded. She has expressed frustration of the open-ended nature of her position and the ongoing need for statements about the status or lack of outposts. Though she remains eminently capable, it appears to be exactly the job she didn't want. All the pats for Addison. Pathfinders. Pathfinders AI partners. Pathfinders are highly skilled explorers, scientists, and soldiers, but when partnered with the quantum computing power of an artificial intelligence, they become indispensable. Developed by Alex Ryder, my matrix was the pattern for multiple SAM iterations. There we go. There's no N in it. Iterations intended to. Oh, fucking hell. You put iterations and intended next to each other. No wonder I got them fucking mixed up. Iterations intended to partner with a Pathfinder, each travelling on their respective arcs. The nature of artificial intelligence means that hosting each SAM iteration on different hardware causes multiple tiny variations. This results in unique individuals who are similar but fundamentally different to myself. Partnership with the Pathfinder allows continued development and increased empathy with organic individuals. Also accounts for the reason that some of them sound like the Turian one sounded Turian. The Asari had a broad spectrum Asari sounding. Well, I don't think we ever heard the Asari. But yeah, Pathfinders go through extensive psychological training before being linked with an AI partner. Allowing full root access to an AI without sufficient preparation can result in unexpected and unwelcome side effects. However, those who are prepared and sync fully with their SAM are capable of extraordinary feats, like withstanding bullets for a set amount of time. Solarian Pathfinder, as her official biography states, like most female Solarians, Zavin Reka was originally groomed for a life of political intrigue as a Delatras. However, she broke with tradition to devote herself to exploration and the sciences. Despite lacking an official political position, Reka's natural charisma drew followers from across Solarian space, gaining her a reputation as not only a skilled scientist but also a respected and influential leader. Reka used that influence and family connections to benefit numerous ecological projects across the Milky Way, culminating in her greatest achievement, restoring the threatened biodiversity of her homeworld, Erenli, and enabling it to support a viable population. Her success on Erenli, combined with her leadership qualities and scientific expertise, drew the attention of Alex Ryder, who encouraged her to submit her candidacy. There's an N missing in there, I think, as the Solarian Pathfinder. With Reka captured and presumed dead, the role of Solarian Pathfinder went to Captain Hager. Though inexperienced by comparison, Hager's record shows steady and skilled leadership of the Solarian Arc. He is now conducting information gathering and research aimed at stopping Ket exaltation, because we left her behind to save the Krogan. I don't take Calo on missions, I take Drac on missions. Having Drac on my side is helpful. That's my reasoning. Pathfinders, the Asari Pathfinder, publicly stating she was joining the Andromeda Initiative for spiritual reasons, Matriarch Ishara's centuries of diplomatic experience and popularity among the Asari made her a strong candidate as Pathfinder. In her younger years, she served as the Asari Republics as a judge before joining Thessia's diplomatic corps, and was more recently the architect of peace accords that ended 7 centuries of bitter conflict in the Kormoth system. Who's in the Kormoth system? Is that Batarian space? With Matriarch Ishara gone and Cirrus Theris disgraced, the junior commando Videria Demali has taken over as Asari Pathfinder. Her service record shows few deployments, but her firearm and biotic test scores are above average, and medical records show she is adapting well to our Pathfinder implant. Pathfinder implants. The first Pathfinder neural implants were created by Dr. Ellen Ryder, a pioneer in human biotic implant design. While biotic implants bolster and focus electrical signals along the nervous system, Pathfinder implants go a step further by connecting to not only the nervous system but circulation, endocrine function and exteroceptive senses. Synced with an artificial intelligence, the implants reveal their full potential. The implant is a two-way connection, giving me full insight into my host's physical and mental state while allowing me to generate and alter electrical signals along my host's neural pathways that the body processes as its own, In a crisis, I can adjust a Pathfinder's balance, improve reaction time or muscle memory, or bolster biotic abilities. Quantum computing allows me to implement changes faster than synapses can fire. The main challenge for the Pathfinder implants was miniaturizing a QEC device enough to fit a neural implant. This connection keeps me in constant sync with my host. Role of a Pathfinder. Pathfind. In the title. Could have just put that. It's in the title. Pathfinders are the tip of the spear for exploring new worlds, while planetary surveying is typically a long-term, multiple-team process. The initiative found an alternative thanks to Alec Ryder's AI research, an individual equipped with the best training and technology available, and an AI partner that can run complex studies in seconds and 100 test simulations a minute. With AI support, Pathfinders can determine within hours whether a planet is suitable for habitation and direct the Nexus as to what colonist block stands the best chance there. Pathfinders are trained to improve the viability of potential planets, initiate first contact with unknown species, find suitable outpost sites, and handle any external threats before the first colonist touches soil. The presence of a Pathfinder is an assurance that a planet can be settled safely and with a high expectation of success. So there's the human Pathfinder, there's Turian, there's the Asari, and there's the Solarian. Why didn't the Krogan get one? Born on Palaven, Turian Pathfinder, born on Palaven and a decorated engineer in Blackwatch, Mason Barrow was touted by the hierarchy to be a shining example of a Turian citizen. There were concerns among initiative leadership about whether or not he would leave his comfortable life behind to become the Turian Pathfinder, but Mason was eager, so long as he could name his replacement, Avitus Rix, a former Spectre. Internal emails and screening interviews state that Mason and Avitus met in the field and suggest that their relationship may be more than platonic. Sure. I'm okay with that. Mason Barrow left the Milky Way aboard the Turian Ark Natanus in 2185. Despite his initial hesitation, Avitus Rix complied with Mason's last request to take up the role of Turian Pathfinder. A grief counsellor was assigned to Avitus upon his arrival at the Nexus, but he has yet to show it a session. Aww. And that is the Andromeda Initiative. Now we've got to go through Ark species. Sorry, Huygens. Data on the biology, culture, and history of the Asari species. Oh my good lord. Righto. There's going to be a lot more than fucking 2 videos on this. Ow, my fucking knee. I didn't hit the drawer either. I hit the fucking bit in the middle that doesn't move up. Archaeological evidence shows that abundant Thessian resources and their natural tendency to cooperate helped ancient Asari develop city building, writing, and agriculture unusually early. The tone of research papers suggests this is a point of pride for Asari scholars. After studying a number of Prothean ruins and developing their space program, Asari astronauts found their way to the Citadel, the most advanced station in the Milky Way, deserted since the Prothean extinction. Later, when Solarian explorers reached the station, the Asari proposed a joint government, eventually known as the Citadel Council, who I killed when I played Mass Effect. The Asari have played a fundamental role in galactic politics ever since. Asari commandos served with distinction in the Rachnar Wars, despite heavy losses, and Krogan occupation of the Asari colony Lucia was the tipping point for the Krogan rebellions. In recent years, the Asari have devoted themselves to diplomatic service, including helping to negotiate the 2157 human-Turian ceasefire, which was after the first contact war between the Turians and the humans. Asari, renowned for their long lifespan, biotic ability, and diplomatic nature. The Asari were one of the most influential species in the Milky Way, Asari explorers were the first to discover the immense Citadel station, and it was the Asari who first proposed the creation of the Citadel Council. Asari are monogendered, their unique physiology allows them to reproduce with any species via a form of parthenogenesis, passing on genetic traits to their daughters. Almost all Asari are biotic, and the control over their nervous system allows them to hone their powers to heights few other species can match. An Asari can live for 1,000 years, passing through life stages referred to as maiden, matron, and matriarch. Asari matriarchs are ancient and respected, often holding immense cultural and economic power, though no such framework exists in the Helios cluster. I'm not surprised. Culture and society. The Asari come from Thessia, whose vast element zero deposits form the basis of the most powerful economy in the Milky Way. Living in small city-states, the natural Asari tendency to cooperate led to the loose conglomerate known as the Asari Republics. Government operates as an e-democracy. Policy discussions take place over the extranet and are open to all. Discussions are made by consensus or with the advice of politically minded matriarchs. Sorry, I had to lean forward there to read that because my eyes went a bit fuzzy. The Asari military is relatively small and informal, but no less lethal. Small units of volunteer Asari commandos, also known as huntresses, handle peacekeeping operations in Asari space and were among the first Council Spectres. Their 1,000-year lifespan gives most Asari a long view of events, estimates, investments, social programs, and environmental policies trend toward long-term rather than short-term rewards. This approach drew many Asari to the Andromeda Initiative, undaunted by the centuries-long journey. Asari biology. It's a dismembered head! Sorry about that. Though they appear feminine to many species, Asari are a monogendered species. During reproduction, they provide 2 sets of genes to their daughters in a form of parthenogenesis, with the second set modified by contact with a partner. During Asari melding, an Asari attunes her nervous system to her partner, giving and receiving electrical impulses through the skin until the two briefly become one unified nervous system. It's very strange. This fine control over the nervous systems contributes to the Asari talent for biotics. Few species can train the level of control that most Asari have by nature. Since joining the Citadel, Asari would prefer to mate outside their own species, claiming that this fosters development and understanding. It also reduces instances of Ardat Yakshi, or pure-blooded Asari, who suffer a dangerous genetic disorder. If Asari are compatible with life in Andromeda, they will prove several theories about the fundamental building blocks of life. If only I could play as an Asari and not a human. It's so much fun. Humans! Ah, how boring we are. The Systems Alliance is a supranational government that spearheads human space exploration and settlement in the Milky Way. The Alliance is responsible for the government and defence of extrasolar colonies and stations, and officially represents humanity on the Citadel Council. Only because of Shepard. The Alliance was founded out of necessity, as no single nation could fund and manage the rapid expansion of humanity from Sol. The discovery of Prothean ruins on Mars had proven that alien contact was inevitable, earning international support for the Alliance that solidified after Alliance forces liberated Shanxi in the First Contact War. Just mentioned that. Archived extranet articles and Gian Garson staff bulletins reveal tensions between the Alliance and the Andromeda Initiative, construction of dreadnought-sized ships, and persistent rumours of AI development which could have damaged humanity's standing on the Citadel led to the Alliance demanding to oversee the Initiative's labs and shipyards. Negotiations continued until the day of the Initiative's departure. Interesting. N7. The most respected Systems Alliance officer training is awarded through Interplanetary Combatives Training, ICT, at the Villa Militar in Rio de Janeiro. Candidates at the Villa are initially given 20-hour training missions to lead teams through hostile terrain on little food or sleep. Trainees who do well are awarded an initial designation of N1 or are invited to return. Subsequent courses, N2 through N6, are often held off-planet and include instruction in zero-G combat, military freefall, parachuting, jetpack flight, combat diving, combat instruction, linguistics, and frontline trauma care for human and alien biology. The highest grade of training, N6, provides actual combat experience in conflict zones throughout the galaxy. If the trainee survives these scenarios in admirable and effective fashion, he or she finally receives the coveted N7 designation. N7 is the only ICT designation that may be worn on field or dress uniforms. Humans, early space flight. No, it's the SpaceX. The human philosopher Plato once said, "Astronomy compels the soul to look upward and leads us from this world to another." For much of its recorded history, humanity has indeed looked to the night sky and dreamed of venturing to the stars. However, after the historic NASA Apollo 11 moon landing in 1969, the drive for crewed space exploration slowed as government funding dried up. The move towards cheaper unmanned probes and orbital stations gained traction instead, as one of the central obstacles was the expense of creating first-stage booster rockets that would be lost after each flight. But the lure of sending people into the cosmos never lost its draw. In the early 21st century, a private company called SpaceX pioneered efforts in sustainable space travel by developing a reusable launch system. It revolutionized the field as the first entity, government or private, to successfully launch and then safely recover an orbital booster rocket intact, allowing it to be reused in future launches. Reusable hardware placed lower cost, sustainable space travel within reach. That's fucking weird. Galvanized by SpaceX's achievements, a renaissance in space exploration followed. Reusable launch system technology later became pivotal in establishing the European Space Agency's first permanent settlement on Mars, Lowell City, in 2103. Aww, I'd be dead by then. I wanted to actually see that. I won't be fucking dead by then, but yeah, you get the point. The Krogan. Wait. Krogan. Oh my god, blimey. Okay. Stretch. Bruh. Leader of the Krogan, Overlord Nakmor Morda. Leader of Krogan colony New Tuchanka, Nakmor Morda has recently seized even more definite power and declared herself Overlord. From this position, she's been able to exercise control over all aspects of the nascent colony and increase the chances of its survival. As a female, Morda's leadership and power are unique in Krogan society. Morda lived with the female clans in their camps on the Krogan homeworld Tuchanka. A born leader, Morda rose to organise and coordinate many of those camps. Through sheer will and against all odds, she made them thrive as stable, self-sustaining and comfortable places to live and raise children. Morda herself is infertile. Oh no, what a shame! Morda's intelligence and ambition is matched by her inherent ruthlessness, considering she fucking headbutted that guy into oblivion, yeah. Over time, she rose in power and reputation and was able to challenge clan leader Nakmor Kronak with the right of authority. She easily bested him and became leader of Clan Nakmor. She then focused her ambitions to the betterment of the entire clan by joining the Andromeda initiative. Krogan culture and society. Krogan culture was irrevocably changed by the genophage. Irrevocably is very difficult to fucking say. Genophage, not so much. A society built on clan pride, conquest, and enduring any challenge could not survive the prospect of a quiet extinction. In the Milky Way, the Krogan are a scattered and fatalistic people. Believing the genophage will never be cured, many subscribe to the idea of kill, pillage, and be selfish, for tomorrow we die. But, as we all know, and if you do it properly, we cure the genophage in Mass Effect 3. Is it 3 or 2? Where a certain Solarian dies. My best friend. He's amazing. Krogan who don't become wandering mercenaries often live within clans with histories that stretch back thousands of years. Others organise under the banner of a single warlord or into a krant of like-minded warriors. The history and traditions of a Krogan clan are maintained by respected shamans who prove their worth through grueling and secretive initiations. Female Krogan capable of producing offspring are valuable commodities. Most females live in separate camps where they raise children until they are old enough to face Tuchunga's dangers. Krogan biology. Krogan are exceptionally hardy, having evolved in a crucible of lethal conditions and monstrous predators. 240 degree vision, normally a feature of prey animals, gives Krogan a broad awareness of their environment and approaching enemies. Their tough hide can withstand stabbings, gunfire, and multiple redundant organs allow them to survive internal injuries. An electroconductive secondary circulatory system, rather than a central nervous system, makes Krogan almost impossible to paralyse, while the hump on their backs stores valuable water and fat. So they're armoured camels, basically. The extremely high birth rate of Krogan, a response to Tuchunga's harsh environment, once saw them overrun gentler worlds within a few decades. The genophage has reduced live births to a relative handful. Krogan physiology is also highly resistant to radioactive or toxic elements and environments. This allows them to live comfortably on planets hostile to other life. Initiative scientists have studied Krogan cellular regeneration while developing first-in colonist to radiation treatment. Interesting. Krogan history. A degree in Krogan history was apparently once a joke in academic circles, but excavations on Tuchunga show that ancient Krogan had a thriving and impressive civilization. Unfortunately, their technological advances ran afoul of Krogan aggressive instincts. Once the Krogan entered the atomic age, they didn't hesitate to deploy nuclear weapons on Tuchunga, devastating the surface and reducing their people to scattered, warring bands. The Solarians technologically and culturally uplifted the Krogan in return for their service against the Rachni, who were terrorising Citadel space. Capable of surviving the harsh environments the Rachni preferred, Krogan units drove the Rachni to extinction and were hailed as heroes. Didn't kill them all, saved one, kind of. They were granted gentler worlds to colonise, but their rapid breeding meant the Krogan soon overran them and threatened neighbouring species. The resulting Krogan rebellions lasted almost a century, until the Tyrants deployed the genophage bioweapon. Unable to breed reinforcements, the Krogan people fell into decline. And all fell back to Tuchunga, apparently. Krogan. The Krogan homeworld Tuchunga is one of the harshest in the Milky Way, honing the Krogan into a physically powerful, aggressive and adaptable species. Once considered heroes after the Rachni Wars, Krogan expansion made them a threat to the galaxy until the Turians and Solarians used the controversial genophage to quell their numbers. Several authorities questioned, including the Krogan and the Andromeda Initiative, given their history. Invitations were extended to several clans, particularly those who did not take part in the Krogan rebellions, and their assistance eventually proved invaluable in building the Nexus. Colonist interviews showed that many Krogan see the Initiative as a chance to reinvent their people. The Krogan are considered a dying species in the Milky Way, as genophage means only 1 in 1,000 Krogan pregnancies succeeds. In recent years, Krogan have shown signs of adapting to the genophage, as they have to many other threats. Like Clan Nakmor, Drak, and Kesh, who are, well, she's going to be a mother, and he's going to be a great-great-grandfather, or great-grandfather. I'm yawning again, sorry. Solarians. There he is! I forgot his name. But yeah. It's probably in here. Hang on. Biology. No. Okay. Modern Solus. There we go. Brain just went, this one! The fortunes of Solarian political dynasties dominate their early history. Most students require VI assistance to trace the complex interplay of trade wars, intrigues, assassinations, joint scientific discoveries, and treaties that created the current political climate. Some of the most famous, such as the 10 Traders' War have been immortalised in long-running extranet dramas. Of course they made a drama out of it. The Solarians were the second species to discover the Citadel space station that serves as the political heart of the Milky Way, making first contact with the Asari and becoming founding members of the Citadel Council. Their intelligence gathering proved vital during the Krogan rebellions, and later led to the creation of the genophage bioweapon intended as a deterrent. Its development by the Turians remains controversial to this day. The Solarian... Borf. Fuck you. The Solarian STG Special Task Group has played a secretive but vital role in galactic history, specialising in information gathering and covert missions. It's believed that STG operators have ended several wars before they began. Solarians. The Solarians are a warm-blooded amphibious species from the Milky Way planet of Sakesh. Naturally fast metabolisms mean that Solarians live intense but short lives of less than 40 years. Their quick intellect and photographic memory makes them gifted scientists and engineers, and Solarian Union is renowned for its technological advances as well as its secrecy and intelligence gathering. Tension between Solarians and the Krogan has lingered for centuries. Solarian scientists were responsible for creating the genophage that devastated the Krogan population and ended the Krogan rebellions. Almost 90% of the Solarian species is male. Almost 90% of the species is male. Holy shit. Political power is centred on Dalatrases, rare Solarian females who negotiate the fertilisation of eggs and the strategic alliances that result. Many Solarian females choose to join the Andromeda Initiative as civilians, a significant break in Solarian tradition, like Pathfinder Raker, who I killed off. I'm still salty about that. In the Milky Way, the Solarian Union is dominated by the rare Solarian females known as Dalatrases, who negotiate the complex web of Solarian politics on behalf of the regions they govern. Solarians belong to vast clans whose interrelation and current political status must be painstakingly tracked. Clans are divided into concentric circles of relatives. Those closest are in the first circle, which may be up to 100 members, and circles increase exponentially outward. This is considered confusing by other organic species, though it's mathematically straightforward. Solarians do not have a concept of romantic love. The fertilisation of eggs is a political act, since the lineage of any resulting females has a strong impact on society and only occurs after months or even years of negotiations. Multiple Solarian females opted to join the Andromeda Initiative as civilians. Renegotiation of a dozen political dynasties in the Solarian Union was ongoing when we departed. Solarian biology. Solarians are renowned for their high-speed metabolism, allowing them to function on 1 hour of sleep a day. I wish I could do that. Compared to most species, Solarians think and act quickly, processing both emotional and biochemical changes at a rapid pace. A Solarian workday traditionally accommodates 5 or 6 small, high-protein meals to match. However, Solarians only have a comparatively short lifespan of roughly 40 years. Solarians are haplodiploid, egg-laying amphibians. Unfertilized eggs hatch males, fertilized eggs hatch females. A Solarian female typically lays a clutch of dozens of eggs once a year in environmentally controlled hatching pools. Once hatched, young Solarians imprint on their parents, ensuring dynastic loyalty through generations. Their large families were a contributing factor to the Solarians developing photographic memories, enabling them to recognise hundreds of relatives. Solarians rarely forget fact, face, or grudge. A popular saying suggests making a Solarian enemy in the morning makes 1,000 by evening. That's actually quite true. Durians. Sure. Finish this one. We'll finish the Ark species one and then get on to the next. Turian culture is founded on public service and personal accountability. The Turian military is the centre of their society, functioning as a public works organisation as well as an armed defence force. Citizenship is conferred once Turians have completed boot camp, begun on their 15th birthday, and promoted through the 27 citizenship tiers. put the fucking false teeth back in and speak properly. And promotion through the 27 citizenship tiers is judged on individual merit. At the top are the primarchs, who lead colonization clusters. The inclination to military service and social trends mean few Turians pursue entrepreneurial careers, making the Turian economy more vulnerable than most. The support of clients like the Volus makes up for this deficiency. Turians in the Andromeda Initiative operate outside a comfortable hierarchy. And again. Interviews with prospective Turian colonists indicate some are seeking this very freedom to forge their own destiny. Other colonists believe Turian selflessness and civic structure will be vital to the initiative's success. Turians, renowned as men of action and women, like Vetra. The Turians have a militaristic culture revolving around public service. Sorry, I'm scratching my nose. Around public service, Turians earned their place in galactic society after their actions in ending the Krogan rebellions. They subsequently served as the peacekeeping arm of the Citadel Council and commanded the largest fleet in the Milky Way. I believe they have 3 dreadnoughts. They have 2. Solarians have 1, and we have a dreadnought as well. Humans have a dreadnought. Turian society once relied on client species like the Volus to build their economy and trade. In the Andromeda Initiative, the military training all Turians undergo allows them to fill many vital civic and security roles, but many have also enrolled for entrepreneurial or diplomatic training to be better-rounded colonists. Galactic events and their military doctrine have led... Galactic events and their military doctrine have left lingering resentments between Turians and some species. The Turians were responsible for deploying the genophage against the Krogan, and misunderstandings with humans led to the First Contact War. I'm really hoping it wasn't like Mars Attacks with the fucking dove, because that would just be really ridiculous. Though humans and Turians have since become cordial, if not close allies. Turian biology. Turians evolved on Palaven, a Milky Way world with a weak magnetic field that leaves it vulnerable to solar radiation. Most life on Palaven has a protective metal-rich exoskeleton as a natural defense. The thick plate-like skin of a Turian protects her against some long-term radiation, but does not defend against projectiles or energy weapons. Unlike most sapient species in the Milky Way, Turians are a dextroprotein species, meaning that food for levoprotein species like Asari or humans can cause dangerous allergic reactions and vice versa. The only other known sapient dextro species is the Quarians. As well as Palaven flora, Turian scientists with the Andromeda Initiative paid the Quarian migrant fleet. There we go. Figured it out eventually. I was talking about the Quarians in an earlier video and was like, what the fuck is the name of their fleet? Migrant fleet, handsomely for plants and fungi that were specially developed to thrive in hydroponic conditions. Turian history. Before joining the Citadel Council, Before joining the Citadel Council that governs much of the Milky Way, the Turian hierarchy was a formidable power with numerous client species supporting its powerful military. Rapid expansion from Palaven later led to the problems with outlying colonies, when isolation and xenophobia led to infighting in what was termed the Unification War. I'm sure there's another game series that has something to do with the Unification. Whatever. Somebody will tell me. If not, I'll just Google it in a minute. The Turians made first contact with the Citadel around 700 CE, when the Krogan rebellions were raging. When the Krogan devastated Turian colonies, the Turians responded by unleashing the Solarian-developed genophage against the Krogan. 200 years later, the Turians were invited to join the Citadel Council. In 2157 CE, human explorers attempting to activate a mass relay were attacked by Turian forces, and as unauthorized relay activation was strictly illegal. The resulting conflict, the First Contact War, saw the human colony of Shanxi occupied by the Turians before the Citadel Council negotiated peace. And that is the ARC species. to move on to Andromeda species in the next episode. I have been Paradox Master 1819. This has been Mass Effect Andromeda. Business to fellow humans. Goodbye.